Okay, we are recording. This is the November 15th, 2023 edition of the FairTV monthly meeting. On this month's call, or this call, is fellow chairpersons Lee Camlett and Paula, and Luke as our FairTV manager. And I call this meeting to order. Have we gotten that out of the way? Okay.
Yep.
For some reason, I thought there had to be a, anyway. Opening remarks, nothing extensive. Oh, absent from this meeting is Will, the secretary, in one of our committee meetings, but we do commissioners, but we do have a quorum, so we can proceed. Will join us next month. I should say that I will be on vacation and likely not able to attend next month's meeting unless we shift it. And I'm not sure that's a good idea, but let's get into that in this meeting as far as that date goes. So this is all part of my opening remarks. Let me just take a quick look at the calendar for December while we're on this topic. If anyone can beat me to the
December
punch here.
20th.
Okay, that's actually that's a Wednesday. That's the night
Yeah.
I get back. Yeah. Actually, that confirms that there's no chance that I'll be able to do it. So we can cover, the meeting can proceed without me. Does anybody else know that they cannot attend that meeting, December 20th?
Did Will say that he couldn't be there?
Will can be there.
Oh, he can. Okay.
You were correct. So if you all can do it, I'm out of pocket the week before, and that's the night I arrive back, and I certainly don't want to do this meeting the next night. So I know then we start pushing very close to the Christmas holiday, and that's the last thing I'm interested in doing for anyone's to anyone's detriment. So just looking really quickly at the calendar, we either keep December 20th, which, like I've said, is fine. Paul, I think you would just assume the role as, presiding over the meeting, or that's a Friday night. Yeah. I don't know what other option there is unless you want to push it the week after Christmas. And I only can imagine that somebody would be, at least one person might be away or unavailable then.
I'm here on the 20th.
You
Yeah,
are here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Paul is here.
I'll be here for what it's worth.
Luke will be here. Okay, there's no question in my mind the meeting should proceed that night. I'm just gonna, while we're here on this call, I'm gonna see if I can get a message through to Will, confirming that he can attend Wednesday, December 20th meeting, because that obviously would make it a non-starter. All right. And then we can make that a motion. No, there is no motion, actually. The meeting will just go on as scheduled.
Unless Will can't make it.
Right. And in that case, we just have to file a notice for a special meeting, but I'd rather not even cover any of that. Even if he doesn't respond to me tonight, that could be resumed, after this meeting. And we have his confirmation. Great. So the next meeting will be Wednesday, December 20th. Like I said, I will not be here. So one thing that I would like to cover in tonight's meeting is the schedule, or at least my preferences or role in setting the schedule for 2024, because that has to happen at the last meeting of 2023. Will and I discussed this briefly, and we said we'll just line up tonight what everybody's thinking, and then you guys can officialize it on Wednesday, December 20th. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the extent of the opening remarks. Paula? my opening remarks.
So the only thing that I had was just to ask the question about this alias because it's incredibly inconsistent. I know that for whatever reason, the agenda is not getting through, but I get emails. I still get some emails from Luke when Luke sends it to the alias. So I don't know what's going on, why we're getting some stuff and not other things. Lee, are you experiencing the same thing where you're getting some email?
Yeah, it's been hit and miss, but I haven't gotten a Fair TV email probably in the last 10 days, I don't think. I mean, I
Yeah.
can look, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
So Luke, do you have any idea like who we can talk to about like figuring out why this
Yeah,
isn't
I
populating?
would say probably talk to Dave Kelly because I'm assuming that he's the one who set it all up or one of his guys.
Okay.
So I'm sure they could look at it and see if there's something that's not forwarding or there's some other issue at hand that's causing it not to go through.
Okay.
Luke, would you be able to reach out to him on our behalf?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the choices we have are simple. Either it gets fixed and is consistent, or we'll need to create another alias, but I don't know if creating another alias would do anything different. The only other alternative is that we could create another alias outside of the town of Fairfield one, right? And like via Gmail. I don't know if there's any issues or any reasons that wouldn't fly. I mean, in the end, we're setting up something that's never been done before, which is a way for people to contact us as a commission, which I think is a benefit to the town. So, Luke, why don't you just ask Dave and say that if he can't give us some sort of assurance that this problem can be fixed, I think certainly by the end of the year, if not sooner, we should create a non-town of Fairfield alias.
Yep. Yeah, I'll follow up with him tomorrow and see what he says.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yep.
Luke.
No
That's
problem.
all I have.
Okay, let's move over to the production manager's report.
All right.
Did you
So
want? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do the minutes from October, right?
Yep.
Okay, my bad. I guess I'm missing Will's presence here. So now is the point in time where we ratify the October minutes.
Yeah, we need a motion to pat.
Okay,
I'll move to
I may-
approve the minutes of the October
I-
18th meeting.
I second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so formally the October 18th, 2023 minutes for the Fair TV Commission are approved. And at that point, now we can move over to Luke's production manager's report. Luke, the only thing we put in there is I mean, I know we have a few things, and if you look at new business, you'll see some of them, but just to include the grants and let us know whatever else is buzzing in your world.
okay, yeah. So I guess I'll talk about the grants first. I think last meeting we talked about how the CAC grant money actually went into the fund. So I've been, using that on the items that were listed on the initial request, and then I've also changed a few items just for some of the stuff that was on there that Jerry put on that was either obsolete or not needed. I just updated it to newer stuff or stuff that I felt, would fit in better with actually what's going to work the best with us and with the new production we have. With the Zoom room and everything. And I also applied for the Peg Pisha grant. We talked about that a little bit in the past. It's just another grant that is funded. It funds basically town or education, either productions or education, like districts and whatnot. So I applied for that to try to get new broadcast servers. So the window is from, I believe it's November to to February, so we might not hear back till February on it. Usually that's what I've heard. It's like end of the, beginning of the year, that's when they get back to it. So like I said, we'll just have to wait and see if they approve it and then go through with buying that stuff and swapping it out for newer equipment. And then, yeah, I guess, I mean, the other stuff I have is kind of touching on the new business. I don't know if we want to wait until we go on that for the different requests and all that.
What is the timing, Luke, of these grants?
What do you mean as far as the timing?
When we would receive the funding?
So, I mean, I've talked to my my boss at Fairfield Public Schools, and she said that they usually issue it at the end of February, and you won't see it until maybe March or later. So, I mean, honestly, it's almost better off because in order to do a swap like that for the broadcast server, it'd be nice to do it when there downtime and not many meetings. So summer would be ideal for it. If not, the other time would probably be Christmas break, but if, then probably won't get back to us in enough time. So ideally, most likely summer is going to be the best time for that project.
Where's the grant money coming from?
So it comes from Peg Pisha. It's a grant through the state.
Can you spell that?
It's PEG PETIA.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
is it solely for education project?
It's education or town video production or like education IT departments and stuff like that could use it to fund different equipment or whatnot. But it's mostly for equipment or software purchases.
But it's not for equipment that has to be dedicated just for education.
No. So because we are the public education government channel, we're able to apply for it.
Right, okay.
Yep. And then, yeah, I guess the other thing is, I mean, I guess I give you guys another update on the Zoom rooms. I mean, there's not much to update. Unfortunately, the town is pretty much all set. I know Dave kind of almost put his final approval on the vendor, and that we've been using that for different meetings, the Board of Selectmen, some of the Board of Finance meetings that are in there, and different inland wetlands, stuff like that. I know the only thing that he's waiting to test is like the actual Zoom feature instead of going to WebEx. So I know he's in the process of testing that now. And then the Board of Ed, they're kind of at a standstill with the vendor going back and forth, trying to get another some answers or whatnot. So again, I would have to go back to Dave to kind of follow through with that because, and I don't know too much, but right now Board of Ed is kind of at a standstill, not done. Town is quote unquote pretty much done and working.
So I have a question, and I'm sorry because I'm still trying to get my head around these Zoom rooms. Do you have any control over the cameras or the microphones, or is it totally hands off? Once you just press a button and it's all automatic?
So in theory, it depends on the room. So if you're at like for the fire school training, or if it's at Sullivan Hall, there's 2 cameras. The one at BOE, the Board of Ed has 4. So that one you have a little bit more control over bouncing between different camera to get different shots. Because it's such a, it's that much of a larger room.
Right.
So you technically could, so the design is for it to be just push and go. So you walk in, start a meeting, and you don't have to worry about mics, speakers, everything's already built in. The cameras by function have a automatic zoom and focus feature. They haven't used that yet because it only works with the Zoom, like Zoom using Zoom instead of WebEx. So that has a feature where it automatically pans and zooms to the person who's talking.
Right.
So
I was really asking, I should have clarified. Do you have control over the microphones in terms of volume or?
not not too much. So the microphones kind of pick it up because they're already programmed to be built in and pick up whatever. You could there's a tablet on the attached to everything, and you could change the volume. So you could change the volume up, volume down, but realistically, if someone else is hosting, they're really not going to touch. They're just going to basically start the meeting and then go. So,
Right, got it. Okay.
but you could change the volume, so it is a possibility. Yeah,
Conceivable.
yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem. And then I guess the other stuff is going to be touched on with new business. So I think that's pretty much it from my report.
Okay. How are things going in general, Luke?
Yeah, we're going good.
Okay.
No complaints here.
How long have you been doing this? I think you started in July, so July, August, September,
Yeah.
October, November. So coming up on a half a year.
Yeah.
Is the day-to-day, has that hopefully dropped off?
Yeah,
Like,
not too bad. I think, I mean, between, I guess, when I first started, we had a lot of like the back and forth with, different possible events to cover and all that stuff. And just kind of grasping everything, from day one. I think now, I kind of, obviously, I kind of getting steady in the flow of things. So I got the kind of day to day down. I'm getting, getting used to the routine, and it's kind of working out pretty well.
well, that's good and important, that, I mean, it seemed like it might have been unrealistic to just assume out of the box, especially as we said with, the budget and, the trial and whatnot, that,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be more time consuming, but I want, it's important that it not stay like that. So,
Yeah, no, I would say it's a
yeah.
I got a pretty good balance on it, and kind of, tweak things and whatnot. And so I have it pretty consistent now. So it's a good flow.
Good. Okay. With that said, let's move over to new business. The inauguration is November 27th.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think tomorrow, as we are less than 2 weeks out, November 13th. Yes, you probably should send a note, Luke, to, I mean, or you can do it when we get off this call, but to Jackie and Jen. I'm not sure who else would be able to help us to, find out what we need to know about the inauguration, unless we're on autopilot. Like, did we ever?
Yeah, so I do know from the original email request that she sent, it looks like it's at 7 o'clock at Ward High School in the auditorium. So I mean, we've held different events there in the past, so it's I would say it's pretty much just getting the equipment over there for the cameras and whatnot. And but it's pretty straightforward from what we've used, so it's nothing too different than what we've seen.
Okay.
So I'll just double check with her once we vote, tell her the final decision, and then just follow through with the final details of what exactly the timeline and all that.
Okay. So I guess we need to just, take a vote. I make a motion to vote on the Fair TV's coverage of the inauguration for, the first select person for selectman role on November 27th at Ward High School.
Second.
Anyone want a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion is approved that Fair TV will once again cover the inauguration for the first selectman. Yeah, I mean, I just think, obviously, the canary here is if there's some, delay of that we don't know about. Lee, I don't know if you know when the first, when the secretary of Connecticut confirms the election, but I suppose that's what we would be waiting for.
I assume it's the Secretary of State, but I don't.
It's the state,
I don't
yes,
know.
okay. All right, well, Luke, if you could just get on that, by tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Um, I'm gonna operate on the assumption that nothing's changed, and that's when, we all should operate on that. There's not a lot of time, and with Thanksgiving week ahead, essentially this has to be figured out. Now.
Yep.
Okay. Was someone gonna say something? No.
While you're
Okay.
talking, I was just going to look to see what Brenda said. I'm pretty sure she conceded, but keep going.
Okay. I was trying to find when the Secretary of State ratifies the election, but I could not find that. Okay. Sorry, just a moment. Everything's just takes an extra moment tonight. Gonna chalk it up to a long day. I'm in trouble pulling up the, okay. So then there's a request came over about a month and change ago. I don't have it handy, about us covering, a school play. I know we haven't talked about it formally, but in the past, the prevailing view is that FairTV, in accordance with, the importance of adhering to our mission, not get into the process of filming, school plays, if you will, or theatrical performances. There are many schools in this town and many, I'm sure, fabulous performances. And the last thing I would want to be in the position of, or this committee to be in the position of, is to determine, why any one of them are more important than the other, or merit us filming them. So based on that, and the fact simply that from a resource point of view, and a time point of view, it's my belief that we decline, the recording, the filming of any, school-related entertainment, including this request.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's totally a capacity problem. And, it starts with school plays, and it's school concerts, then it's fifth
Right.
grade graduation, then it's second grade choral society, and there's just, you could run it 24 hours a day and not keep up with the capacity.
Simply put, it's not budgeted for, and I don't think, but that would be a very large issue here as well.
Yeah, one other thing too, note to put on that is, I know it was coming from an elementary school request, and I know that that elementary school has no sound system, microphones, any resources there to use. So it would be, we'd have to buy a sound system, or somehow would have to, so it'd be too much of a production. It would just be extensive production for,
Right. Listen, I suppose if we owe a response, I'm happy to send that response. If I could find the first request, I know it came from Jackie. But if, yes, I see it right here. It's October 29th, I believe. I think it was October 29th. No, I don't have the right date, but in any event, if someone like Paxton wants to, we can always refer our own people. Would that be Paxton or somebody else, to see if they want to be, hired?
yeah, I don't even,
By the,
yeah. I don't know though. That's, unless he would have to use his own personal,
right. Oh, absolutely.
equipment and all that, if that's the case. But obviously, if we decline it, then he couldn't use any Fair TV equipment or any of that. So I would almost just, say just kind of stay out of it, because if we, and even though it's someone that's works for us, if we put them on, and it might just kind of get muddy. So I would almost
Yeah.
just say, sorry, but maybe they could contact someone at the school to do it, or one of the high school kids could film it. They have, they have like, video production and whatnot. Maybe one of them could do it within the school,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
simply put, we're not allowed to use our equipment for non-fair TV.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
there
I agree with
definitely
Luke.
is. Yeah, I just know there's no equipment there at it's not like the high school where they have the auditorium with the sound system and mics and all that. They have nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a basic bare gym. So whoever's covering that would have to supply everything, and we definitely don't have that kind of resources for sure.
Okay. I will reply formally. I'm just going to reply to the people that sent the request. Does anyone by chance see when I've looked at this email many times? Did anybody actually see when the request was made?
I think I have it here.
Yeah, I might have it. Let's see.
If you just tell me the date, I know it came from Jackie to all of us, right?
I see. I see October 27th.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the title of that by any chance Fair TV question?
Yep. Yep.
Got it. All right. Um, so I'll go ahead and I'm just want to be sure. A call came in that our intern fielded wanting to speak. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. I just have a telephone number for Susan, Sarah Martin.
Yeah,
Not
she didn't even
sure.
she didn't even put an address or anything, which is kind of
Okay.
odd.
It is odd, but you know what? I want to be responsive to requests that come in, provided they're,
Yep. Yep.
not manageable in the fact that we're struggling right now to establish the communication that we thought we had in place. So I'm going to make a motion that we respectfully decline the request to film a play in April by the North Stratfield School.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be great if we can try and help people, refer people to, but obviously that comes to a budgetary question. That's another issue that, it's certainly loom large here.
To back up just briefly to your
Please.
question about the inauguration, I'll just read you the operative sentence from her statement yesterday, I guess, which said, "I have called Mr. Gerber to congratulate him on becoming Fairfield's next first selectman." It goes on, but I'll spare you that.
Okay. Well, that doesn't, there doesn't seem to be any doubt in that message, nor is it our job, obviously, to parse that, but it appears that, by all accounts, there should be an inauguration on the 27th that we'll film. Thank you. Okay. The last item for new business is the meeting schedule for 2024. So I will not be present at the next meeting. So, even if we don't resolve this, I guess the first question is, what do people think of the current time? I have some mixed views on this, but I want to make sure that everybody's needs and desires here as a volunteer commission are being taken into consideration. It's obviously not just my decision, it's all of ours. Oh, yeah, we'll cover that, the Christmas tree lighting in a moment. Let's just get through this matter. Yeah, I'll just say this. I do wonder, on perhaps a Monday, trying to think this through for a moment. Would a Tuesday night work better than a Wednesday night? I'm just putting that out there. And Luke, I don't know what else is going on Tuesday nights.
Like moving forward.
Yeah, for 2024.
Um,
I have
yeah,
a conflict on Tuesday night. I have a
You do.
standing vestry meeting at my church. That's
Okay.
it's the same thing. It's every third Tuesday. Um, if it wasn't the third Tuesday, then I could look at Tuesday.
Oh,
But assuming that we're keeping it the third week of the month.
look, I mean, I guess, sometimes I tend to think that people's weeks fill up. I mean, we haven't had an issue with attendance. Um, from my perspective, Tuesday night is a better night than Wednesdays. I don't see why we couldn't do it the second Tuesday, um, as opposed to the third one. I'm not sure, I have a feeling that that's just where these things ebb and flow according to schedules. Paula, I don't want to make it seem on the flip side that like, now here, your Tuesdays are always blocked, or at least half the month. But I would say that Tuesdays tends to be better for me in terms of being able to, definitively allocate the time than a Wednesday night. Thoughts? Yay, nay? You could.
I don't have a preference. I can do either.
yeah, either one works for me for the most part.
Paula, do you have it?
I mean, the only thing that's gonna get tricky for me is like just as the schedule, having it be the third Wednesday, and as it's been the third Wednesday, it seems like I'll be able to be present. If we switch it to the second Tuesday, I'll probably be out of pocket for a couple months because my husband's been transferred to London, and so I'm actually commuting to London
Oh my
starting the
gosh.
week after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah, so the way that it times out, just ironically, like Wednesday the 17th, which would be of January, I'm home.
Right.
And then like like the third Wednesday, but for whatever reason, those Tuesdays, like I'm in London. So I
Uh,
just happens to work out that way. But
uh,
I
I'm
don't,
just wondering if we have to set our whole schedule for the year, could we, for example, schedule, keep the third Wednesday for the months of January to February? Because I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just a better solution, but I think that we have to vote on our schedule for the whole year.
I think we do. Because it becomes part of the town calendar, and that's why they tell us that. And then then you get into the thing where you're creating a special meeting, and we've been down that road,
Right. Well, I'll just say very simply put, the reason I'm, just so you know, since you're in this predicament, is that with two small young children, I'm lucky on Wednesday nights they will not be cared for at this time, and it's when they go to sleep. And I don't like to be late or move a meeting, obviously, on account of that. And I've just sort of always maneuvered it to make it happen. If it were 50-50 for everyone else, I know that on Tuesday nights I don't have that problem. I don't know if there's a scenario where we could do 2 months, the first 2 months on Wednesdays and then switch to Tuesdays. I'm not trying to make this complicated or say it's impossible, but if we do have to set this up, we should really do it with our, the best plan in mind. So it doesn't become, an issue. And yes, people can miss a meeting here or there, but as we all know, we have a very thin margin. In that we used to be able to lose two people to a meeting and have a quorum. Now we can only lose one.
Yeah, so if you want to move it to the second Tuesday, that would make it January 9th, which I will be here for January 9th. February will be an issue, and March, I don't really know.
All right.
So, yeah, why don't we go ahead and then
Well,
if I have to miss it, I have
hold
to
on.
miss it.
Let me throw another option out. And please, everybody, this is a discussion. We don't even have to decide this. I know it's 8:45 now. This meeting started at 8. I mean, it really got underway officially at, 8:10. Sometimes there's delays and communication problems or technical issues. But would we consider putting it even 15 or 30 minutes later. I hate to infringe on other people's nights, and I know we had some very lengthy meetings, but that makes it, that solves half my battle. So it's just something else to consider. I know again, I know it's late.
So David, keeping it on the third Wednesday, but shifting it to 8:30 as a start time?
Yeah, it's just a thought.
That works for me.
That's
Works for me.
fine for me.
I mean, I ran into the door to get here, so an extra half hour would have been nice.
I commute up to Hartford Monday through Wednesdays now, and there was an insane amount of traffic tonight, and I got in at 7:45. That's not usually the case for me, but I guess the point is that buying an extra half hour of time doesn't seem to hurt anybody. As long as, we really only had really extensive meetings when we were talking about the trial, but on the whole, these do last under an hour, which is good. So I don't think this will be a motion because I'm not sure how this quite works, but why don't you take up the motion at the next meeting on December 20th, when I definitively won't be here because I'm on vacation, that we will, with Will's blessing, or, I really want everybody to be on the same page on this. Otherwise, we're just kidding ourselves. That we start our meetings at 8:30, the third Wednesday of every month. I can mention to Will that this is where we got to. So that, hopefully it's just a formality. And if it is an issue, then we can figure this out. It's not
Surely if it doesn't work out, they can change the calendar, the town calendar. I imagine, Luke, do everybody else's meetings always start at the same time all year round?
I'm not too sure about the commission meetings, and I definitely know that, like the Board of Selectmen, they definitely do bounce around a little bit, or they have like a special meeting or what, things get changed throughout the week, so it's not like the same every time. Like sometimes they do move them or whatnot. So I'm assuming, like you said, we could change it if we have to.
Can't imagine there's no legal reason why you can't change it. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, not 100% sure, but I would assume, I mean, I know for sure that like the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance, they've either canceled or moved meetings or, changed the time. So I think it's possible. I think you just have to let them know ahead of time.
All right. Well, Will is engaged tonight, and I don't want to bother him. We're going to
Yeah.
shoot for the third Wednesday of every month at 8:30.
Okay.
If that's an issue, we'll figure it out. I don't think anything else needs to be set or determined, but that would be great for me, and hopefully it helps everybody. And Paula, it doesn't put you out of sorts, because as I was looking at my calendar, ironically, I have a one-off. Look, when people have business or something like that, that's one thing, but that on Tuesday, January 9th, I actually have something that evening. And if that's the
Gosh.
right, if that's how it goes, then the karma's in the air to not mess around with Tuesdays. And you're trying to go in between two continents, and you obviously, it's just really important that we have all of our participation, because in my experience, and Paul, I think the same can be said for you, is that we often were missing people, even when the committee was 5. And it seems, I've always said it's kind of pointless to be on the committee if you're not present for the once a month meeting.
Yeah.
Especially it's not even in person. Okay.
I just think, David, ultimately you'd have to resend the invitation for the meetings, because you can't, at least I can't edit it on my calendar.
Oh, that's fine. This is for
Yeah.
There's two
Yeah.
invitations right now. One that I get one from Will, and then one from myself that somehow I think I created so just get through next month's meeting.
Yeah.
That will stay at 8 o'clock, especially That's not an issue. I'm not here. And, then take it, I don't think there's a I think you can just make the motion and move forward with it then.
Yeah.
But we'll,
Yeah.
we'll just know going into that what Will's position is, because as I said, everyone should be on board. Okay,
Okay.
I've said my piece. The only other item of business is a Christmas tree lighting that I don't think we've received a request for, but we've always filmed that in the past, according to Luke and Paxton.
Yeah, so there, I know I talked to Paxton and he said that it's always been filmed in the past, for the past X, 10 years or whatever it was. This has been one of those things that we've always done. So I don't know if the town kind of assumes it, or we haven't got any official requests yet, but I just kind of want to get ahead of ahead of everything if there does come one in, or I don't know if, like we said, if it's assumed that we're going to cover it because we've covered it for the last, X amount of years. I just want to kind of make it official, just in case any questions asked.
Excuse me. I mean, I don't always say we have to do something just because we've done it in the past, I guess. Are we okay budget-wise? Is there any issue? Do we know the date?
Yeah, I think according to the calendar, it looks like it's on the December 2nd. I don't know if that's according to the town of Fairfield calendar. It looks like it runs maybe a few hours. So that would just be either one or two guys just getting some shots, and then Paxton said he'll edit it together. So it's not crazy amount of not a crazy production. It's similar to the one that we did for the Memorial Day parade like a while back.
Right. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Okay with me. I was just looking at the calendar too. I don't see it on the calendar for the.
You have to.
Oh, yes, yes, I do. Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
the
Sorry.
drop down. It's hidden.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah, at 4:15.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm assuming. I mean, it looks like they do. Obviously, I'm not from Fairfield, so I know what they do in Milford is they have different activities going on, kids singing or whatever it is may be. So I'm assuming that we would just kind of show up, get some shots of different things, and then put it together in a video and then post it.
Seems right to me.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we film the 2023 Christmas tree lighting in Fairfield.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. The vote is approved. So we will proceed with that. Luke, let's do it.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
let Paxton know, and then I don't know. I see it. So I know he says sometimes they do two shots just for one guy gets like two different angles or what it may be. But if it is, I'll have Paxton and Jeff. And if Jeff can't do it, we have another guy that kind of fills in when needed.
Great.
Okay. That's good to know. I think in the interest of time, I think that the final meeting, unless there's, obviously significant amount of new business. Well, when do we usually go, the budget, when is that taken up?
Isn't it usually like January, February? No, maybe I'm mistaken.
I think you're right.
I don't know if it's
the
on the same
fiscal's
timeline as
July.
I don't know if it's the same timeline as Board of Ed budget, but I think they have the talks the first the month of January, and then the end of January they do like the budget approval, I think.
That sounds right.
Okay.
It might be different with the town. I don't know.
All right. So just to sort of recap our meeting, Luke, you'll engage with Jackie and Jen about the inauguration. I mean, it's still theirs to not oversee, but I mean, the outgoing administration needs to give us some direction if we need direction, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll ask Dave Kelly why we're not receiving inbound email forwarded to our personal emails. You can, as we discussed, also see if you can identify if there's a way for us to reply from the commission as opposed to replying from our own emails. The solve for all this is that we move this whole thing out of the sphere of the town of Fairfield. But I know even when you create, for example, like a Gmail or Yahoo alias and you reply, I'm not sure you can reply from an alias. I don't know. That's a Luke question.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we do something like where you set up like a, say, FairTV Commission at Gmail or whatever it is, and then you just have that, any email go forwarded to all four of you guys. And then from there, you would have to basically if you didn't want to use your own email, you could either log into that main address and then just CC so everyone sees it, you know what I mean? Or blind CC everyone on it.
Right.
So it's not like a true alias, like the group that you guys are in now. That's you put the email addresses inside of it, and those are members within the group. But where you it would be more of like a single email address that would forward the emails that go to it to you guys. So you could, as long as you guys have the login for that email, anyone could reply from it.
Right. Well, I mean, that would certainly be ideal, and
Yeah.
I like the idea of replying, as the commission and not as our, individual selves go. We represent the commission. So let's see what comes of that.
Yeah,
We're
and
also-
I would just say if you do that, I mean, we could talk about it once we get more confirmation about either the other one not working or what it may be. You would just have to make sure you CC or
Yeah, blind CC.
blind CC the same address you send it from basically, so then it goes back to the
Back to,
inbox.
right.
Then yeah, it's more like a
It's like you're replying. It's like when people reply and include their own email on
exactly
something. Right.
yeah. So then it gets back to the inbox, and then it gets forwarded to you guys individually.
Okay. I don't have anything else. So I'd like
One
to,
last thing, it
Yeah.
looks like the budget, the Board of Finance holds their budget hearings in March.
Okay. So they must be later than the Board of Ed.
Well, doesn't the Board of Ed have to go through the Board of Finance? I think so.
So maybe that's why they're before. So maybe they
Yeah.
go through their talks,
Right.
and then they submit it to the Board of Finance, and then
Right.
it goes to final approval or whatever it may be. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
okay. I have, Paula, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Lee,
Nope.
Luke,
Nope, all set.
Lee, I still owe you some answers. I'll get to it.
About
I'm
what?
trying. Oh, just, go all that, clarity that you gleaned
Oh.
about, requests and,
I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it.
okay. Well, what you did, I actually found very insightful. So thank you. Lee just did a little, digging about, a little more digging on the FOIA issue, but there's really nothing to talk about as it pertains to us here and now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, so